this. What we are witnessing is the geopolitical shift of the oil market from the Middle East to the Northern Hemisphere. That's what we're witnessing.
Right. And I like to add this to this, and you confirm it, because I see a lot of, listen, we do have the heartbeat of America. We understand what other people are thinking or saying. This is not some kind of move to get away from the United States dollar, because I know it's all out there that this is some sort of thing to get rid of the dollar. This is not the case. This is about oil. Dave,
whoever's saying that, whoever's talking about the demise of the dollar, is either parroting Iranian or Russian or Chinese propaganda. Most likely Russian, because the Russians, listen, those three nations, they would love to see the dollar collapse, because that only strengthens their position. Right now, without Iranian oil coming through, the president said, China, send your ships. We'll send your ships over here. We got plenty. You can send them to Venezuela. That's fine, but they're going to have to buy them. They're going to have to buy the oil with U.S. dollars.
Right.
And this is their problem.
Right.
Right? So,
yep.
Go ahead.
No, please. What I want to say is that from a long time ago, George Magazine, and it's not even taking the position, is explaining the position of Donald Trump when it comes to the United States dollar and, yes, the Federal Reserve. From 2 years ago, we put a George Magazine cover on the BRICS and how the BRICS group, which is, was it Brazil, Iran, Russia, and China, is the main ones. There's other countries. But they were in a position to try and make an alternate reserve currency. And this is what's the power of the United States, is not just our military, but it's also the use of the dollar. And so we have been targeted with this, with propaganda saying, George and Gene Hill and Dave Blades, they must be deep state because they're talking about the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is so evil. You understand that this is the tool. This is the tool to keep everyone in line and in check, because that is the world's reserve currency. And it's.
But again, Gene, all right, there's an idea out there that the U.S. dollar is the reserve currency because we tell people that it is. And that's not the case. Other nations are not buying up U.S. dollars or using U.S. dollars, Federal Reserve notes, as a safe haven because we're telling them to. They're doing it because we have the greatest economy, we have the most wealth, and our government is stable, right? All of our wealth intrinsically of this nation backs that dollar. So that's why the dollar is the world's safe haven. And that's why it's the easiest one to exchange and is considered the reserve currency. It's not because of any hold that anyone has on anybody, but that's the reason. What are you going to do? This is why BRICS failed, because China wanted to base BRICS around their currency, and they're the world's greatest currency manipulator ever. So how could you do business with them? Today, their currency is worth $10. Tomorrow, it's worth $7. Next day, it's worth $5. Next day, it's worth $15. Well, how do you do business like that?
Here's another thought. If you don't think, the reason why I say this is because we in the past, and even some stragglers now, have been like attacking us, saying, Gene, that we must be like a tool of the deep state because of this Federal Reserve. If you don't believe it, exchange your United States dollar for the Iran rial. Is it the rial?
Yeah, the rial.
Right. Would you? I know you won't. I'm not even messing around. I know you won't. Because if the regime that's backing that is gone, then what do you think your Iranian, their version of the dollar is going to be worth?
Right.
And that's so this whole thing, guys, and I just want to, because there's a lot of, we've been doing this for a long time, that everyone's attacking us. It's whatever. You realize that that's the propaganda to try to destroy America. And you have a lot of MAGA basically saying, we can't wait. We can't wait till the dollar crashes. We don't want the dollar. You understand that that's what Donald Trump's tool is to use to keep all these nations in check.
If
Right.
people understood the true history of the Federal Reserve, and not that lunatic Griffin's book, The Beast of Jekyll Island, or whatever he called it, the true history of the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve came about because our monetary supply was nuts, and Teddy Roosevelt kept borrowing money as president from J.P. Morgan. And all of Congress was afraid, like, we can't depend on, what are we dependent on one guy to bail out the nation? We had to get our house in order. And that was the basis for setting up the Federal Reserve. Plus, prior to that, every state had their own dollar. You go
Right.
into different states and they have their own dollar. That was a couple of, cents off one from another and so on. No, you couldn't do business. You couldn't conduct business. You couldn't grow like that. So it
Right.
had to be consolidated.
Now think of what we're saying here. But 2 and 3 years ago, when Dave Blaze was the first one to go out there saying this, and then people were saying, basically the network was saying, oh my goodness, these guys are shills for the Rockefellers, the Rothschild, whatever, enter the name there, whatever name you want that you want to hate. We've been saying this, but now we have been illustrating in George Magazine how Donald Trump is using the dollar, where the BRICS try to attack it. Now you understand that that's the Psyop on not the American people, because generally speaking, the average American doesn't say, oh, I hate the Federal Reserve, is infiltrated with the MAGA community, which I love MAGA, but to think that the Federal Reserve is bad, when right now this is the tool to keep everyone in check. Thanks for checking us out. Don't forget to go to georgemagazine.com and sign up for the Dispatch. It's free. Get the emails and the news stories. And check us out Monday through Friday, 5 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. You can check us out on Facebook and YouTube. We'll see you then.